do it.
Bada bing.
Bada bang.
Okay.
That's a good snap.
Thank you.
Damn.
Wow.
That's actually very gratifying.
Make me feel all good.
Yeah. So we can lower the music like after I get to the word for it. It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hi, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans, side of you, what you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you. Because that's New Orleans, and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled vodka, Saint-Germain, Peychaud's bitters, lemon juice, and a house-made strawberry basil syrup. And two people at this table are drinking it. Their names are Devin and Danica. What do you think of it, girls?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
I'm getting ready to get my next one.
Really? How many of those frozzes could you drink before
Probably
you were
10.
drunk as hell? 45.
Oh, wow.
Before they're
said
drunk,
somewhere-
I'm going to say this one.
No,
Okay.
no, not drunk. Maybe tipsy.
Tipsy.
These are the voices of Tree, Danica, and Devin, who collectively are known as Hyperphlyy,
Hello.
Oh, yes.
which is spelled Hyperphlyy. Who came up with that name?
These two psychos.
These two psychos. Really?
Well,
Where is Poplarville, Mississippi?
Poplarville in the
Yeah.
next couple days or so, because it sounds awesome. Oh,
yeah, you have to wait till
I wouldn't
Blueberry
say awesome.
Jubilee. That's about all we got
But
going
if
for us.
you do go
Blueberry Jubilee.
That's
Yeah.
about all we've got going.
That's like, yeah, that's what
every
Poplarville's
year,
known
first
for.
weekend
there's
in
a
June.
pageant, isn't there?
There is a pageant.
I've seen this. I was impressed by how many categories of women they had in this pageant.
Yeah,
They have a lot of
pageant?
Little
categories.
Miss Supreme, Little Miss Grand Supreme, Grand Supreme, Little...
yeah, it's too
Little
much.
Miss-
A Little Miss Chicken
Little
Supreme.
Misses.
You're like, oh,
No misters, though. It didn't seem like there was any Mr. Blueberry.
How are
Well,
those different types of women? What is this? What is
It's
what is
just like
this?
the different
Boy, I
age
have no
groups, pretty
clue.
much. Like they have like Miss Blueberry, then
Oh,
it's
which-
like Junior Miss Blueberry,
And
it's
then
like
Little
Junior,
Miss.
Junior.
And so it's like pretty much for all the losers. If you weren't Miss Blueberry, they have like
Oh, I see.
kind of like
They've
runner
gone-
up.
Everyone gets a
And
prize.
yes.
This
Yeah.
is the voice of Lecco Morris, who's a pianist and poet. I believe. Is that
Oh,
come on.
Take off your shirt. Come
know-
on. Yeah.
Lecco is a real. Take off your shirt.
Yeah.
It's the frozen.
yeah, you're halfway through your first.
What is the relationship between piano, poet, and take off your shirt?
Rose.
well,
All are improvisatory.
I think poets are romantic.
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
piano.
Who doesn't love a good piano player?
Right.
And right after that, just take your shirt off.
They get sexy.
Okay.
All right.
You've got a lot going for you already.
Yeah, seriously. I just gotta like not talk much and just stand here.
Do you have this reaction on women mostly?
Yeah, I mean this is pretty much how I pay the bills. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
sort of like come up to random tables and are told to take it off.
Yeah. Take your shirt off
Well,
and then.
it's a little bit true. You kind of like you show a little bit of what's on
I
the
see
inside
you got a little bit
every
of
single
chest
time.
going.
All right,
A
well,
A little.
try
Yes.
to go a different direction.
You can undo the top button if you like.
Oh, it is. The top three.
Excellent. Yeah, nice. Okay.
top three.
I don't like
Go
that.
wrong.
That's
Now
a
we're
good
getting
look.
somewhere.
That's
Yeah,
a
we
good
haven't
look.
even.
Alicia, don't tell them what you do. Just don't tell them what you do.
Hey, what is this thing you have around your neck?
So I'm a typewriter poet. I have a company
Talking
called
to us.
Ragtime Poetry Company.
Ragtime
and
Poetry Company.
I also busk on the street, and actually a homeless woman came up to me and told me that her mother had died 2 days prior, and that she had no money, but she would love to memorialize her in some sort of way. So I wrote her a poem based on a few things that she told me about her mother, and she paid me in this, a dream catcher she had made earlier that day. And it's just my good juju. I carry it around when
That's
I need
nice.
a little good juju.
Yeah.
Which
come
is
on.
all the time.
How much do you charge for a poem about a dead mom normally?
I don't. I don't charge. I don't have any rate when I'm on the street as a busker. Really,
Okay.
what you say is, pay me what you believe this is worth to you, what this experience is. And
Okay.
sometimes people cry. Sometimes you end up the butt of all sorts of jokes. I mean, it turns into anything. Really
Just
can
walk us
happen.
through this. So you're on the street in the French Quarter somewhere.
Sure.
Are you? Is that where you hang out?
Sure. I've done a bunch on Royal. I've done a little bit on Frenchman. And this is just the busking component of.
But do you have like a license or whatever it's called?
You don't need it for most parts of
You don't.
New
You
Orleans.
can just go down to the quarter with your typewriter and hang out, and
Depends-
the cops aren't going to move you along.
Depends where in the quarter. Depends on how much of a jerk you are or are not.
Is
These
that
things
right?
end up being helpful in this town to not be a jerk.
Yeah.
You end up having a little bit more space to do what you want to do. There are certain places where it's not as customary for poets to type, and it's a community that a lot of people, a lot of feet on the street, but there's a little bit of a jostling around how are we going to all make this work,
So you
right?
have a typewriter,
I do.
and you have a little desk or something, or what?
Yeah, it's actually a very difficult setup to transport, as I currently am transporting it. It's a little fold-up desk and a little fold-up chair that I bungee cord and then put on the side of my bike.
Okay.
So
I have to say, knowing that you type on a typewriter in a city like New Orleans, I'm kind of surprised you don't have a handlebar mustache.
yeah, I
Did you used to?
I used to have a full beard. I'm talking like came
Mr.
out of the
Lecco.
came out of the woods. Never heard of like a sharp object sort of beard. Yeah. But right when I moved to New Orleans, I actually cut it all off. You know, time of life thing. Look at a new face.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York.
I won't tell anyone. It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
He's actually from Poplarville too.
How long?
I'm actually Little Miss
Everyone's
Blueberry.
ever
No one recognized me. I guess I didn't make a splash.
You didn't have the
It's the
beard
new
anymore.
face.
Yeah.
How long ago did you move here?
7 months ago.
7 months. And how long have you guys been here from Poplarville?
7 years.
7 years.
7
Oh, close,
years.
somewhere
I've
around
been here
there.
a
yeah.
year,
You've been here 1 year.
One
Yeah,
year.
So you're the youngest of the band.
Unfortunately.
And
Yes.
how old are you?
21.
21.
Yes.
Okay. So what happened to you up until now? Did you graduate from college or high
Well,
school? or
no.
what?
Okay, so here's my story. I went to junior college for a year, and I did like I was a student athletic trainer. And then I realized I hated that, and I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So then I went to school to be a dental assistant. And
That
big
sucks
difference.
too.
Yeah, and it did suck. And so I stopped working at the dentist's office, and Dan goes like, "You should come sing with us," because I was like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life at this point." She was like, "Come sing," and I'm like, "Okay." And so
It was just only a little bit more dramatic.
she was
than
not
that.
like, she was like, "Okay, you didn't have
Well, all
to."
your options are pretty much closed off at that point after you'd flunked out of 1-2 year.
Hey,
what was
I
it? Physical. What was the first
no,
thing?
athletic training.
Athletic
I was just
training.
like, and I
That would
worked,
have been a good gig if you could have stuck with that.
Yeah,
I
you-
worked
rubbing
with.
down athletes.
Oh my God, it was
Yeah.
the worst. I worked with
Guys
women's
like
soccer.
Lecco.
I did women's soccer, men's soccer, and then spring training of football. And I'm like, this shit is not for me. Like,
And what exactly is the job if you had done it?
so you go to all of the games, all of the practices, all the early morning practices, all of the workouts, and so basically you pretty much like tape the athletes to get ready for games and stuff like that. Do like their physical therapy and all that kind of.
So you get like hands-on all these.
Yes, super
Yeah.
hands-on, super hands-on.
Could be interesting.
It was at first, but then I was like, first of all, football players are crybabies.
Oh, really?
They really are. I was really shocked because like all these big guys, and they're like, no, that hurts. I'm like, I barely touched you. Like, come on.
So, did
What-
you ever get to oogle anybody's goodies?
No, well,
Okay.
Yes, that was
it was
yes.
like
Moving
this-
along.
It was not goodies, but it was like their glutes. We're gonna just say glutes.
They're gluties.
Define
Okay.
You
And I'm
were.
just like
You get to feel guys' asses, basically.
a couple
But that-
times it happened.
Yeah.
You're a butt
Okay.
toucher. That's weird. Come on.
What football team was this exactly?
It's called Jones County Junior College, and it's in
Yeah.
Ellisville, Mississippi. It's about an hour-ish from Poplarville, north of Poplarville.
Right.
So,
So maybe if you actually had graduated though and you worked with a professional football team,
I don't think so.
might have been a different story. No,
It
it
seems-
didn't seem like an attractive way to make a living.
It seems like a good idea. I don't know, just rubbing down football players, but this is stink. I could have.
Oh my God!
It
And
must
then
stink
after
so
games,
bad.
you have to ride the bus back.
Ew.
So it's like, oh my God! It was
There is not enough bus windows.
Out damn stench.
It was terrible. But what's crazy? The soccer girls smelled the worst.
Really?
What would you put that down to?
Huh?
How would you explain that?
Let's see, like sweat, grass,
and body
Goat
mist.
cheese.
more of cottage cheese.
Cottage.
Cottage cheese.
What a-
I don't even
It
know what
was
cottage
just-
cheese smells like.
I don't
yet.
either, but cottage cheese looks weird, so I would
does.
assume that it smells
It's
weird.
strange
too.
looking,
If
yeah.
it looks, smells like
Okay,
it
so
looks.
you stuck that out for a year,
Yeah.
and then you went to dental hygiene school. Is this all in Mississippi somewhere?
Yep,
Is this
all
all
in
paid for
Mississippi.
by the sort of
By
state or
me.
something? Are you
No,
paid
by-
for this as well?
Yeah. Cause
How are you
yeah,
paying for this?
My parents.
Oh my God! So they put a lot of money invested into
Well,
physical
no,
fitness
the
and then dental
athletic
hygiene.
training. I was on scholarship for that, so.
Okay.
But the dental
So-
school, that was out of pocket, and
pay.
so I did the dental school, graduated from that, and then worked as a dental assistant.
Oh, so you actually did.
Yes.
Okay, so that's cool. So you have that to fall back on.
I wouldn't ever go back to that. I don't think so.
That sucks. Not interested.
No, I'm really not. And I was like, and it started off really cool, but then like the company had like some kind of real shady stuff going on with it too.
At
so
the dental clinic?
look, you would be surprised. Like,
I would be surprised.
so it was just kind of like some.
What goes on in the shady side of a dental
It
clinic?
was just like
It's selling dentures on the black market. You know that almost Betsy comes in at 9 o'clock for a fill-in.
no, so then like
Yanking them.
that didn't work out. So then that's whenever Danica was just like, what did
What's left for you except country music?
Right. So it's just.
Well, how did you guys get to start singing country music, which seems like an unusual choice?
Well, we actually just grew up listening to country music. I mean, people say, when did you go country? It's like we were born country.
Okay.
So when did we go against country is what is the real question. But like we've been rednecks for a long time, and so we grew up like in the mud, in the water, in the woods, in the woods, like you name it. It's like that weird like overly country looking, it's kind of like how a lot of people like picture rednecks. That's how we grew up. Yeah. And so
okay, other than the hat though, you don't look like your typical redneck people you see
That's the trick.
on the country. Right. So you've really carved out a niche all of your own here.
yeah, for sure. Like
Is it working?
oh, definitely.
Well, yeah, because I think now it's working because we're doing what we want to do.
Right.
When we first got here, everybody was like, we wanted to do country music, and they were like, "There's no market here in New Orleans for country music. Like, y'all need to do blues or jazz."
I've heard people say that repeatedly. There's no country music, but the country music station is like the #1 station in town.
Which is really
It's just, I don't get it. That's why I was like,
so
oh,
why do they
crazy.
say there's no market for it?
It's I mean,
Oh,
people.
look at that frose.
Yes, it's
God,
so
that's
sexy.
Beautiful.
So if her shirt comes off, you
Yeah.
can thank the
Yeah.
lovely bartender
Oh, that's
that way.
good.
If you don't do it, I will. Come on.
Full circle. All we need is frosé.
That's
But
right.
I think maybe because people come to New Orleans, it's the birthplace of jazz, and they want to hear jazz and blues and that soulful stuff. And I gotta say, honestly, I have a jazzy bone in my body when I got here. They're like, "Do you know that?" I was like, "Oh no." Do you know? No, I don't know that either.
You've been here for 7 years and you've played all over the place, but you never had to learn any jazz standards.
Well, we sang half of a jazz song at one point. We did, and we
In
literally
7
sang
years,
half.
we're right at half a jazz.
Okay, not bad. Okay. Hey, so let's play something while we're here then. What are you thinking of playing? So you have a new record coming out called Out the Mud.
It's out.
Yes,
it's
actually
out.
It's out.
Yeah, we released it while we were in Innsbruck, Austria.
Okay, I tried searching for it today on Spotify and I couldn't find it.
That's because Spotify doesn't really pay.
Doesn't own us.
doesn't pay anything.
No, so right now
I
we're
realize
just
that.
selling like physical copies so that we can make some money.
So it's
you know?
not on Spotify. So I can't.
Not
You
yet.
can't
Not
steal
yet.
it.
You
Not
can
yet.
download it on our website. You can download it.
Can I do that for free, or do I have to pay for it?
You'll have to pay for
I have
it.
to pay for it.
Well,
That's
you
what
know
I'm
what?
trying to avoid. That.
There you go.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Devin takes sexual favors. If you would,
Yeah.
Is that right?
Like,
Well,
Well, they're really.
we call her our rate reducer.
rate reduce.
they really do. Like they're like, Dev.
We need a rate reducer.
They're
How
like,
does that work?
Dev,
I'm
hike those
supposed to
shorts up,
I'm
get those
supposed to
boobs out. I'm like, y'all are not about to pimp me out like this.
But how would that work if we're supposed to pay you?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a
That
good
doesn't make
point.
any
Don't
sense. even.
devalue yourself.
but no,
girl.
but no,
Okay,
that's
maybe
just,
you can
that's
step
just
in.
how
Hey man,
used
you
they are
take
to
that.
do
I think you would need one more button.
I'll put in do another couple of buttons.
One more button, Graham.
For a record. Okay. So listen, what are you going to play? Pick up that guitar. Tree is the guitar player here. Do you guys?
not in real life.
You're not really a guitar player. So what goes on at the show? Who plays what?
We have a
Actually,
band.
Yeah,
You have an actual band.
Yeah. We
You
kind
don't
of
have to slow yourself by touching instruments.
kind of
We
free.
just dance and sing.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of hard.
Alicia sings as well. Alicia sings in a choir.
I do sing in a
really?
choir.
What's
It's not a country choir.
Now that would
Not
be
yet. It's not one of the many country choirs that we have here in New Orleans.
What choir is it exactly?
It is the church choir of Community Church, Unitarian Universalist. So I am 1/3 of the soprano section.
Yeah.
All right.
I am also, and I am 38 years old. I'm the youngest person by about 20 years.
Oh my God.
So I'm also
And
the
little
future.
little did Graham know I used to be music director of an all-male a cappella group.
Oh my God. So you were the music director of an all-male a cappella
So
group.
you can
Yeah.
sing too?
I can sing as well.
You must have a great voice, and you're a piano player, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Primarily a
what sort of a cappella stuff did you sing?
So it was the NYU Vocaholics, and
Oh, you went to NYU?
man.
Oh, I went to that awful place too.
you did
Really?
a terrible job, Graham, of finding people who don't have stuff in common.
I know.
I think perhaps this is
You know what? This is the randomness of the whole thing. You both went to NYU.
I think I probably was there a little earlier than you because I left in 2003. That was when
I graduated 2011.
Yeah.
So that's only 15 years apart.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly.
What did you study exactly,
I
Alicia?
studied history of science.
The history of science.
No way.
Yeah,
Other
and
than
I
the
have
science
used
of
it
history.
exactly 0 times in my career. I started off as...
Tell us something about the history of science right now, then.
I would not like to do that.
Oh, I'd love to know what is the history of science.
I don't like reckoning with the fact that I don't really remember anything from my
Right.
undergrad education. Because it was a very long time ago.
What is the history of science? Does it like go back to the invention of penicillin or
Like
something?
from Mendeleev?
I mean, I guess that depends
Oh,
on
you
how
know something.
you define science. Yeah, but I read a lot
Oh, that
about...
depends on the definition of science. So you really did go to NYU.
I did. I went to the Gallatin School of Individualized
Yeah.
Study at NYU, where you can design your own major. That is where the Olsen twins went.
Are you serious?
Gelatinous.
It's kind of cool.
What did you study then?
I studied
Lecco?
music theory and composition, which I would argue, even though I am not actively composing at the moment, like the central concept of making something from nothing, it has pervaded the rest of my life, and that's
So you got a good basic education at NYU in composition. Stood you in good stead for hanging out
Yeah.
the street in New Orleans writing poetry on a typewriter.
I would say
on a table that you've lashed to your bicycle.
yeah.
And how much was that education? Exactly?
How much did it cost?
Yeah, what does it cost to get a degree from NYU?
I don't quite remember. I have
More than it
blocked
should.
that out of my head.
Do you owe hundreds of thousands of dollars? 'Cause
No,
we're
I
gonna
don't.
cancel. Oh, you don't?
I
that's
had a very supportive audition where they gave me a very nice, very nice scholarship.
Okay.
You do
then-
not audition for history of science.
You didn't, how do you get into that? You just have
In
to,
1473. It's just, no.
do you owe a whole lot of money in student loans still?
Not from NYU, but I do from Tulane. Kids, don't go to Tulane for your master's degree.
Oh, you got another degree after your history of
did,
science. What did you get from Tulane?
I got a master's of public health. That's actually why I came to New Orleans about 8 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you've only been here for 8 years. I thought you'd been here for like forever.
It feels like
so.
forever.
Look, I got some bio information about you
Yeah.
here, Alicia. It says that, hang on, what does it say? Because it's quite interesting. Did you write this or did they just send this to me? It says you're a mid-level government bureaucrat at the
That's
Office
true.
of Public Health.
It's
That sounds
fascinating.
like you wrote
What does
that.
that mean?
It means that I work at the Office of Public Health, and I have no control over any part of my life.
What is the Office of let's come back to the Office of Public Health in a minute. Because do you have any idea what that is? Anybody here? Lecco, do you know what that is?
A
Office
mid-level
of-
bureaucrat? I think it's somebody who says, no, you need this form, and when they bring back, you need this signed in triplicate. Do you,
Well,
do you
what is
lots
the
of
Office
forms?
of Public Health? That's what. Is that what you do? You're a form filler?
No, but I am a form creator.
Ah,
I pride
you're
myself
right.
on
All
my
right,
ability
good.
to know.
Form
What I do
master.
is I work for the STD HIV program, and we have about 3,300 clients that we assist with the cost of medication and insurance throughout the state. who
Okay, well,
are
that's a
living with
good
HIV.
job.
Oh, wow.
So you're giving away money to people who have STDs?
Well, we are paying for things for people who have STDs,
Like
and
what, like
specifically
tests
HIV.
or food or
Mostly just insurance coverage. Yeah,
really?
including dental, which is huge. And actually, when you talk about all the issues with like the dental care, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen what a messed up industry that is.
Can you
Yeah.
can you help me remember what that Gambit article was recently? It was really interesting. It was about HIV and the fact that in New Orleans cases are not going down because people are staying alive. Like it was it was a surprise.
Yeah, about a third of our clients are on Medicare. Which means that they've made it to the age of 65. I
Yeah.
think our oldest client is 83 years old, which
Oh,
is
wow.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, my
yeah.
grandma used to always say, you can't kill bad grass. Keep popping back up.
But if you have HIV, now we had somebody on the show who's an HIV specialist, and he made us play this game at the show, which if you had to choose one of these three things to have, diabetes, HIV, or some other horrible thing. I can't remember what it was now.
It was
Please.
cancer.
Cancer.
Please tell me
Thanks,
you
Sarah.
picked none of the above.
I picked diabetes. I
Oh,
think.
you went for the old
And
diabetes.
he said the best thing to have out of those is HIV.
I
Why
agree.
is
Because
that?
it's not going to kill you, and it's like treatable, so that you have absolutely nothing wrong with you.
Wow.
in
And there's
effect. Is that
financial. It's not curable, but it's treatable. Like you can, if you take your medications and you take them on schedule, like you can suppress the virus in your system. Once the virus is suppressed in your system, your life expectancy jumps up to 70, 80 years old, and most importantly, you cannot transmit the virus to any other person.
Wow.
So if you are undetectable, then
Wow.
you become untransmittable.
A friend of mine in New York who was in his 70s and had had HIV for, I think, something like 35 years. I was with him after he got back from the doctor's appointment where they said that he was back to like a more livable level, and he started crying and he made runny eggs for the first time in 40 years, and then he took me to Grand Central Station and we had oysters on the half shell, and he was crying because it's the first time he's been able to have these foods.
Because of the low, because of the low immune system.
Right, because you're immunocompromised.
Great, but there's oysters at Grand Central?
You don't know that? Yes, there's a great oyster bar at Grand Central Station.
Where have you
Really?
Yes, isn't there?
She's going to have to go back to NYU.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, NYU students don't as a habit.
Yeah, right.
Hanging out at Grand Central Station.
Your experience wasn't oysters on the half shell for 4 years?
I went to Port Authority for my oysters, like any good New Yorker would.
I'm a mega bus oyster guy myself.
Where are you
but,
from, Alicia, originally?
I am from Silver Spring, Maryland. Yeah.
So how did you end up down here? Did you come down here to go to Tulane and then you got stuck here?
Yeah, I left the country when I graduated from NYU.
I remember that. You went to Croatia or something, got in
went
a
to-
fight with some gypsies.
I did.
That
in
I remember
Slovakia.
from our last-
Yeah, I was in Ireland for about 6 months. I was in Niger for 2 years. I was in Slovakia for 5 years. And then I wanted to get back to the United States, and I was really nervous about the reverse culture shock. And some people said to me, well, you should go to New Orleans, because that's not really like the rest of the United States. And they were not wrong.
They were not
So
wrong.
this is a good place to, and I imprinted on New Orleans like I was a little baby bird, and it was my mama bird. And
Yeah.
I stayed here for 8 years.
Still here. Okay, we're going back to Niger in a minute, but first of all, country music. Hyperphlyy, what are we going to hear? Are you going to play something off the album Out the Mud, or no? Just something else completely different?
Tree's crazy.
Tree,
We're gonna
you get
play.
to choose. Are you the boss of the band, Tree?
I'm the magician.
I'm the boss,
You're the boss, really, Devin.
I'm
You're
the
the
youngest.
youngest.
but
likes-
I'm the boss.
Is that right?
She likes
So
to
you're in charge. So Danica, what about you? You just go along with whatever they say.
No, not at all.
She doesn't listen to anybody.
How does it work? Is there
It's
a
absolutely
democracy?
chaos. It's chaos.
Danica's really the boss. She tells us what to do, and we do it.
They don't listen. So I was
Is that
like,
right? Is there a leader in an organization like this, in the trio?
I mean, like I'm kind of like the band leader, like in the sense of like the whole, but really we just like to argue a lot and make Derek choose between
Derek's in
like
charge.
who's right, Derek, who's right.
That common
And Derek's like, well,
hierarchy
to be
of,
honest, none of y'all are right.
magician,
There you go, yeah.
boss, and band leader, right? Like,
There you go. It's
Becoming
exactly
When
right.
was the last time someone threatened to quit the band?
Every other week.
This morning.
No,
Yesterday.
I've told them, I'm like, y'all, I wish y'all would try to stop doing this. Like, we've come too freaking far to
Yeah,
try to
we've-
stop.
Yes,
So
like
there's
at
no
this,
going
at this
back
point,
now.
Yeah.
no,
it's kind of like the mafia. The only way out is in a
sunken cost
bag.
fallacy.
No, with your family, I mean, if you break up, you still have to see each other.
Yeah. So like, how
Somewhat
embarrassing
family.
is that? I'm like, so we get our fair share of arguments and fights in, and we fight it out and get back to
Work
the
it out.
music.
Okay. All right. Let's have a song. Come on. What do you think?
Okay, well we'll play a song off of the album. This one's called Country Paradise, and it's I think it was like after I moved to New Orleans, my daughter was like 2, and then like it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like, oh my God, I hope I don't have a city baby. I didn't know how I was gonna deal with that because I'm like the barefoot in the woods. So like took her up to the creek, a place we used to always go swim, and then like about 30 minutes later, she's like, Mom, can we live here? I was like, yes, she's gonna be country. But this one is Country Paradise.
Another day in nowhere town, like the day before. So I put on my old blue jeans and I head on out the door. I sit and watch the same old faces as they go passing by. And I can't help think to myself, I love this simple life. Breathe it in 'cause the air is clear. Got everything I need right here. Think I'll go to the lake with my baby beside me, and fishing pole and my troubles behind me, and sleep under the sky. I'll park my old Chevy at the end of the street, walk under a bridge and jump in a creek. everything's alright in my country paradise. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sitting on the front porch swing with a glass of lemonade. Now I ain't got much money, but I think I got it made. Playing with my baby girl in the yard with no shoes on. No matter where this road might take me, there's still no place like home. And when I close my eyes at night, only dream that I can go to the lake with my baby beside me, fishing pole and my troubles behind me, and sleep under the sky. I'll park my old Chevy at the end of the street, walk under a bridge and jump in the creek. Everything's alright in my country paradise. Don't need no palm trees, no white sandy beaches. We don't have to drive too far. No place where we can go, where the tide's right and the beer is cold. And if you want, we can stay and sleep under the stars. Let's go to the lake with my baby beside me, a fishing pole and my troubles behind me, and sleep under the sky. I'll park my old Chevy at the end of the street, walk under a bridge and jump in the creek. Everything's alright in my country paradise. Oh yeah, yeah baby, in my country paradise.
Oh, yes. Very nice.
Thank you.
Country Paradise, Alf, the record Out the Mud, which is unable to be stolen anywhere on the internet. It has to be purchased. Yeah. So what happened to our brilliant guitar DI plans?
Well, she would have needed to plug it up, and that would have made a lot of sense.
I told him that
what happened? Did the plug fall out or something?
She just didn't plug it up.
Plug it in.
Because I sat it on the table, and I completely forgot to plug it up after all that time.
That's a bit of a drag after our beautiful sound check. But it still sounded good. What did you think? Lecco was a professional musician.
Oh, it was lovely. It was lovely, guys. We breathe together. That's what the whole thing is.
That's
when
right.
you're breathing together, it just sounds.
Yeah.
It just comes through as one. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
That really is cool. You know, I keep on hearing about you guys.
Oh yeah?
Have you found that? I found people telling me they went to hear you somewhere or other.
Are you a stalker?
No, you know, I had never heard of this band. I know you said you've been here for 7 years, but I've never heard of it until about 3 weeks ago. And suddenly everyone's talking about it.
That's right.
What's happened?
It definitely has amplified since we came back from headlining a festival in Austria.
Who booked you at a festival in Austria?
Strangely enough, a professor from UNO. He used to come to our shows a lot, and New Orleans and Innsbruck are sister cities.
Are they?
And so apparently, and so every year, like students from here would go to Austria, and students from there would come here. And then one of their professors was teaching at UNO for I guess a year, and he's like came to a lot of the shows, and then because at first I thought he was the Prince of Wales. Well, there's a guy that we had dubbed the Prince of Wales named Stefan, and then so I started getting messages from this guy named Stefan. It's like, I really want you to come to Austria. I was like, oh, okay, but I thought y'all were from Wales, and this is kind of weird. And then he had like reached out to the guy who puts on the festival, and apparently like sent him messages every single day. You gotta listen to these girls. You gotta find them, and then they found us.
So this year they've been doing the New Orleans Festival in Innsbruck for 21 years, and this year was the first year they've ever had females to headline or a female to headline and country music. So
Austria wants country.
Oh, there you go.
This is what we learned.
I was kind of nervous, to be completely honest, because I'm like, okay, a New Orleans festival, these people are going to be expecting like blues and jazz, and
our fairy godmother Irma Thomas, and so we were just like, and we told them we were like,
Irma Thomas is your fairy godmother?
Yes, for sure.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. I feel like she's kind of like she doesn't even know it, but she has. She's like totally like taken us like under her wing and inspired us so much. We first like ran into her like as a group at the French Quarter Fest Gala.
Gala,
And and we passed by her and we were like, "Hi, Mrs. Thomas," kind of like, "Don't look at me, I'm not worthy." And then she's like, "You girls sing country western, don't you?" We were like, "Oh,
she knows. So we were just like, we were truly a hot ass mess. But she was asking, she was like, so she said, she said, "What day are y'all playing the French Quarter?" And we was like, "Well, we're not playing." And she was like, "Well, why not?" And I was like, "Well,
they don't like us.
The city hates us."
we weren't New Orleans enough.
And so
For
she
the
was
French
like,
Quarter Festival.
and so she was like, "Come, I'm playing Saturday." She was like, "Y'all come on Saturday and I'll figure something out." And so we were like,
yeah. And so when Miss Thomas tells you to come, you come.
It doesn't matter what it is.
And then she's like, "And you know what? And a few weeks after that, I'm gonna have my Mother's Day in the park. Y'all come to that." Yes,
She's like,
ma'am.
"Y'all
We're
come to
coming.
that."
So Emma Thomas has taken a personal interest in you and is giving you spots as a part of her
yes.
gigs.
When we went to her at the French Quarter Fest, she brought us up on stage, introduced us.
And she was like, "New Orleans, this is the future of New Orleans music right here." And she was like, this, it was like she was like, she's passing the torch. And I was like, "Well, no pressure."
And I died on stage. My soul is actually still in Waldenburg Park.
Still
It's just out there.
stage like this, like just standing.
Exciting.
And then for Mother's Day, she does her Mother's Day in the
zoo.
park. Yeah, in the zoo. So she called us up, and we actually got to sing a couple of songs.
And then she started, and then she was
Arma.
sitting on the side, just being all pristine and royal like she does. And then she must have been feeling it because she grabbed her mic and she just hopped up and started singing with us. I was like,
somebody bring me a mic.
So-
I was like, "Get her a mic."
Is this doing any good for your career?
I believe so. Yes, like she.
Can she sell records or whatever you have to sell? How do you make any money now?
Well,
Devin.
we have a
Devin.
we have our rape producer here, so it doesn't really cost as much to go anywhere. No, it truly like it's just a grind. You know what I mean? Like we've got T-shirts and we've got CDs, and so. We just kind of put our feet to the concrete and make it happen, and try and find sponsorships where you can. And
But you're not working or anything.
No, this is a job. We're working.
But I do believe that for the sacrifices you make, I believe that in the hard work that you put in, I believe that good comes back. We went also our friend Kim Carson, who is kind of like the queen of country music in New Orleans, and she's probably been doing it longer than anybody that I know. And so she invited us the next day to come out, so we went to go support Kim. And while we were there, Louisiana's LaRue was after her. They were playing after her. And Jeff Glicksman, who produced the band Kansas and Georgia Satellites and Black Sabbath, and so he is now producing their album, their final album. They're doing like one more album.
This guy produced Black Sabbath,
Kansas,
Georgia Satellites, and now he's doing Louisiana LaRue.
Yeah,
It's not a good.
And now,
I think he's kind of
actually.
had like all the big stuff. You know what I mean? And he was just kind of at that place where like, you kind of take what you want to take now. So he wanted to come. He was I think he was in New Orleans like when he was younger, and so he kind of like the opportunity to come back and just kind of be here. So he and Louisiana LaRue, they're good.
They're awesome.
They had that one song.
New Orleans Lady, but like the guys
like
from Louisiana's
1965.
LaRue, those guys were like awesome songwriters. Even like Tony Hazelden, like he wrote tonal, but he like I think he wrote. Did he write?
He's so much better than Atonal Hazel. Oh my god.
That's my story.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So it's like those guys are all like they've.
And the other guy from Louisiana LaRue is like a music manager, and what's his name? I can't think of his name. He's a really great guy. I can't think of his name, but they're all in the music business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so it's just like a bunch of like music
Jeff,
musicians, and
so Mr. Glicksman took you on as what?
He
as his fairy godchildren as well. No.
Yes,
pretty much.
He's a part of our management staff now. So he and Derek are managing.
Because this is a pretty smooth operation.
Yeah. So it recently got real smooth. Other than that,
Have you guys really been nominated for a Grammy, or is it just in your publicity?
She has.
That's how we get booked everywhere. We're like,
Danica, have you been nominated for a Grammy?
Yes.
What happened there?
So I did somewhere.
What happened? I don't mean like that was some sort of horrible mistake or anything.
What have you done?
How did that happen?
So a good friend of mine, Joe Gelini, is I think he may be like the band leader for Chawa band, and so they took on new management, and they put together this amazing album. The Spy Boy album was their last album they did, and so I did a lot of did some singing on that, did some singing and background vocals for that. So really kind of was hands on in that album, and then that album got nominated for Regional Roots, for Grammy for Regional Roots album. And some Hawaiian album beat it out. They cheated. So,
but you get to say Grammy nominee for the rest of your life. Then.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, so since then, I was accepted into the Academy, the Recording Academy. So,
right, so now you can vote on other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So now I can vote for Out the Mud. Right. Nominate and vote for Out the Mud 50 times. There you go.
Hey, so Lecco, tell us about this poetry writing thing. So we can get back to where we were. Someone comes up to you on the street.
Sure.
And they come up with a subject for a poem.
If they are real savvy, they can come up with a subject for a poem. You really got to pull it out of people sometimes because they're really intrigued by the fact that there's some weird, well-dressed Luddite on the street.
Oh, what are you wearing? You're not wearing this little shirt with your...
Well, you know.
Sometimes
the buttons come down.
A little less chest hair.
I think you look nice.
Well, they're really two separate tracks. So there's busking on the street, and there's a whole community here in New Orleans that's really quite significant. And I think within the world of typewriter poetry, New Orleans is one of the real wellsprings of the tradition of how we're doing this for some time now.
What are the other major centers of typewriter poetry?
I've heard
Bombay?
that Germany has a good scene.
Really?
Yeah, and there's also...
What's German for typewriter poetry?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
Really
I truly don't know.
Sirach will tell us.
But
Did you live in Germany at all, Alicia?
No,
You don't speak German?
No.
You don't speak
Airport.
Do you speak... what do they
Frankfurt,
speak
did you
in
go to Wiesbaden?
What? Wiesbaden? Da? No, wait. I don't know. No.
You know
But
any
it
German?
definitely
Speak
sounds
German.
like it. Your da is like right on point. Da.
Thank you. Thank you.
What languages
I'm good at
do you-
pretending to speak German. I'm just not good at speaking
What
German.
languages do you speak?
I speak, well, English is the only one I speak fluently. I also speak French, Zarma, and Slovak.
Zarma, that's my favorite language.
Oh, is
You
it?
guys know any Zarma?
Where is Zarma
Bullshit,
from?
you've
I
never
never
heard
heard
of
of
Zarma in
it
your
even.
life.
No, I don't even know what
Zarma is only spoken by about 2 million people in the country of Niger. And so that was
Niger.
where... Yeah, so I lived there for 2 years, and no one around me...
Zarma, how do you spell it?
Well, it's actually not a written language, so you can spell
You
however
can spell
you like.
however you like.
Yeah, there's no
I'm
official
going to
spelling of
spell
it.
G-W-X-Y.
But mostly Z-A-R...
Zarma.
M-A, yeah.
So
it
nobody
sounds
bothered
like
to
a
write
fake-
down Zarma until you came along. Did you write it?
Just speak it. No.
I just speak it, yeah, and you can write it out phonetically. And it's a
Right.
beautiful language.
What
It's
does
like,
it sound like?
It sounds like onomatopoeia. It really
What's your
does.
song?
Oh, tell us I'm sorry.
So, and it's a very metaphorical language. So, for example, there's a word for sky, bene, and there's a word for boat, he. There's no word for airplane, so they say bene he, which is sky boat, because the language developed before there was an airport.
Wait a second. If it's onomatopoeia, can you say a word and can we guess what that word means?
Sure, don don.
A drum?
A donut.
It is.
Drum.
That was amazing.
What-
Yeah,
what-
that's a musician
in,
right there.
In like 4 African languages, dun dun is drum.
It's drum.
Because it goes dun dun.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good.
That's
All right.
All right, you'll never get
Keep
this
going.
one,
All
meow.
A cat?
Cat.
That is a
Okay,
cat.
nice.
Okay, so cats go meow in every language.
Yeah.
Can we have buzzers?
The words for mother and
I want
father
buzzers.
are often very similar
'Cause
too.
I think
Are they?
trees cheating. So
Okay, well,
Okay.
I might be trying to become an omniglot at some point in my life. Like
Omni what?
Omniglot.
What's that?
Like a polyglot is someone who speaks a lot of languages. An omniglot is what I would like to learn to speak all
languages.
But
Wow,
that's a hypothetical concept.
Well, you can
Is
see
there-
she just intuited some meaning from words that she'd never heard before.
Dum dum. It's like Law and Order here.
Drum.
Can you sing anything in Zarma?
I can sing in Slovak. I can't sing in Zarma. I don't know any
What?
Zarma songs.
What are the sort of? There's no Zarma songs. I would thought there must be a huge tradition of music.
There are, but I never learned them. I
You
only
didn't
learned.
download all of the cultural
it was
traditions
hard
in 2
to
years?
learn anything in Niger because it's so freaking hot all the time, and your brain just shuts down. It gets to be 120 degrees.
120.
Yeah, Slovakia is much more temperate, much easier to learn language.
I'm
over there.
surprised no one's asked the question. As soon as you say 120, no one said it.
Oh, I'm just like, oh hell no.
Is
like,
it
that's-
humid?
It's
Yeah, right.
That-
What
know-
kind of 120?
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I tell people that, like, oh, it's 120. They're like, oh, but it's a dry heat. Right,
Right,
It's like,
exactly what I'm
but fuck,
expecting
it's
you.
120.
right.
It doesn't matter if it's dry or wet heat. It's 100.
So once you get over
degrees.
a certain temperature, you can't learn to sing anymore.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
No, there's a
just
good in Niger in the middle of the day during the hot season. There's a good 3 hours where your brain shuts down. You can't even read a book. You
And
just
so the
lie
city
in
just
one.
looks like
I
a Dolly
believe it,
painting.
'cause
Everybody-
Oh yeah,
You've
I
heard
mean
of-
it's a siesta. You know, no one's doing anything.
Honey,
No
when
one
the
can do
weather
anything.
hit 93 here, I just shut down too. I
Right?
know what you mean. Like,
You've heard of
Yeah.
vocal fry? This is vocal fried.
So what were you doing there? Were you on some sort of like a
Oh, that was Peace Corps.
Peace
It was
Corps?
Peace Corps. Yeah, I was in a very small village, about 500 people, maybe, something like that.
wow.
And they all spoke Zarma and you
They all
spoke
spoke Zarma.
nothing.
A couple people spoke French, but yeah, it's
So they dump you
sink or
off.
swim there.
Yeah, and then they say, what are you supposed to actually do? Like dig wells or?
That is an excellent question. No, I mean it's
Thatch
a
houses or-
2 hour. That'd be funny. It's a 2-year commitment. So when you go there, really the first 6 months or even the first year is just getting to know the people in your village
Taking
and
your
trying to
shirt off,
see
isn't that? Well,
what they're.
So they dump you off in a village.
It's a little bit more complicated than that because they'll put you through about 2 months of training before
Okay.
you go. You get intensive language training, you get cultural training, and then when you're there, you just spend time with people for 6 months, a year, however it takes to figure out, like, you know, what's the best way that I can integrate myself into this village? What's the best way that I can help people?
Is there anybody else besides you as the
Just
foreigner?
me.
You're the only foreigner.
Just me, yeah. I had a American neighbor who lived about 4 miles to the north of me, so she was the closest one.
So what's your?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your mission?
you
What's
do?
what's the goal after 6 months of like acclimating to what this is? What then? What the next year and a half?
Then comes your needs assessment, and then whatever kind of emerges is what you do. So I ended up helping my village form into a farmers cooperative so they
Oh,
could get
wow.
registered with the government. It means that if there's ever foreign food aid that comes in, they're sort of on the map, that
yeah.
they can receive those donations. I had a environmental education camp that I set up. I hired some local school teachers to staff the camp, and that was a lot of fun. But I was also very young. You know, I was 21, 22 when I was there. And I think if I could go back, I probably would have done things differently.
What would you do?
That's a really good question.
Would your
I don't know.
needs assessment
I think,
have been the same? Do you think?
I think I would have taken it. You know, every 21-year-old wants to save the world, especially every white 21-year-old. You know, and I
Never
think
crossed
I
my
would
mind.
have been
What
able
that
to. I think I would have been
Branson, you
able
didn't
to
give a
reckon with
damn.
that a little bit better. Yeah, I think I would have been able to reckon with that a little bit better and not come in with any preconceived notions
Yeah.
at all about what needs
Right.
to be. And we often talk in Peace Corps about something called the edifice complex, where like we feel like we have to build physical monuments to our time there. It's like, so I'm going to build a school. I'm going to build something that
The
shows that I was
edifice
here.
complex.
When really probably the best thing you can do is just like the cultural exchange that you can share with people. Because sometimes when I felt like, oh shit, I don't think that this is going to make a difference at all, it's like, but I did a lot of things today that made them laugh because I'm a hilarious foreigner. So at least they had a good day. At least everyone had a really interesting good day today.
What's the weed situation there? Do they smoke weed?
Oh, Grant. So I'm not
Yes.
a smoker, but everything in Niger is just like kind of shitty. You know, it's very hot, it's very poor. We bought some edibles and had a little bit and thought, well, nothing's happening. This is shit. But it tasted really good, so we just ate the entire thing. It's the worst day of my 24 hours
That is-
confined to a bed thinking I should get up. Oh no, I can't get up. I can't get up. I have never been like that before in my life.
And who were you doing this with? The Zarma people and
No, it was some of the other Americans who were in the region. We had sort of like a regional headquarters. There was about 4 or 5 of us who were in that area who would come together maybe once every couple weeks. That was the only time we did that. Usually we just...
what's the religion? Do they have a religion, the Zarma?
Yeah, they're Muslim.
They're all Muslim.
Yeah,
Ah, that's interesting.
yeah.
Are they serious about that?
Some of them. Some people are very devout, and then other people, you ask them, are you fasting for Ramadan? They're like, sure. And then they just, yeah. So I think, they're like people everywhere.
Yeah,
Where,
I was
like,
gonna say,
some
almost
some
like people are
lax,
people,
some are,
right? Yeah.
some are serious. But yeah, it's a good time.
Would you like someone to write a poem about you? About that
Poem,
experience?
Song. all of that.
Because Lecco could write you a poem.
I would love to hear a poem about
I don't
eating.
have my axe. You didn't
eating
say to
How does it
roll
work?
with my royal safari.
You have to type on the particular typewriter.
It's not a
You couldn't
particular
write,
typewriter.
Take this pen and write with this pen. This pen.
This
pen
do.
is a special pen that you can only get at nolapens.com. It's made from the fallen oak tree from the Audubon Park.
Is that for real?
Yes, it is for real. And it's available at nolapens.com. It's a one-of-a-kind writing implement. Try writing with it. It's beautiful.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. Oh,
Isn't that pen great?
Oh, yeah.
It really is great. You should get one of these. Try it out, Danica. You can get one for yourself at nolapens.com. Did I mention that? Yo mama. Your mama's a hoe.
Hoe. H-E-A-U-X.
I didn't think
Mark
about
it out.
That's a beautiful poem.
But my usual go-to when I'm trying out a pen is to write, "The masses of men lead lives of quiet desperation." That's so. Oh my
The
gosh.
masters of men lead lives of quiet desperation. Or you could write your mama's a hoe.
Or
What,
I mean, I think they're both Thoreau.
what are you writing, Danica?
yeah, right.
To come to the show or your
Thoreau
mama's
had
a
some
hoe.
dark days too.
If you
You know.
don't come to the show, to our show, your mama's a hoe.
Speaking of
I
our
like that.
show,
Okay.
if y'all aren't doing anything
Oh,
Friday night-
H-E-A-U-X. All right.
Yes, your mama's a hoe.
This is a local put
Yeah.
down.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay, listen, pick up that guitar and plug it in this time. Tree.
Uh-oh.
We're going to do another song, and we're also going to talk about. That's a really good idea, Devin, because you guys have a record release party coming up.
y'all have to
Thank you.
come.
Somebody
Y'all have to
remembered
come.
that. Yes, it's this Friday night
Yes,
at Rock and Bowl.
the old Rock and Bowl.
And if you're listening to this any later than what date is it? Friday, August the 2nd,
Friday.
2019.
then your mama's still a
Your
hoe.
mama's still a hoe, and you're just going to have to go to the website and take a listen to it for yourself. So the name of the band is Hyperphlyy, Hyper. Thank God you're wearing that T-shirt there. Phlyy. I don't know why it has two Y's at the end. Is it?
Why?
Is there a sim-
Because we love you.
Ah, nice. Okay.
So we've got this a cappella tune on our album that is called Shots Fired. And so
So this is a little ditty.
But it's not a cappella once you have a guitar
Yeah, I was
with
gonna
it.
say.
Well, just
we
for
just
the
need
beginning.
a starting
though.
note to make sure we don't.
Ah, okay.
Shots fired with a loaded gun. You didn't need me. I wasn't the only one. No troubles with hurting. I choose to have some fun. Shots fired, but the bullets are gone. Ooh, but the bullets are gone.
Wow.
Oh,
Man,
Haunting.
it looks so easy, doesn't it? It looks like you could just sort of sit there and do that.
yeah, look.
Wow.
Grant, you
That's
guys
beautiful.
should do an a cappella tune.
Yes.
Well, Lecco, you want to do something? You can sing.
Having a whole group.
You want to do something? You want to do a couple of lines or something?
Yes.
Come on.
I mean, I have to ask you if you were in like
These
an
girls can
acapella
harmonize
for
with
the
you.
longest time.
They can join right in.
But I do have a question. So, have you seen Pitch Perfect?
I have read Pitch Perfect.
There's a book.
There's a book.
I
I've not
know
seen
that. I was gonna ask if
I'll
like
learn something
the
today.
group that you were in was it sort of similar to something like that?
Well, it's an a cappella.
It was.
Well,
Let's
yeah.
see. They're now actually open to men, women, humans, all NYU humans. But it was started out as just 4 guys, and I was their inaugural musical director. And then I was like the one. I was the one trained musician of the original group. And so once I auditioned people, then it turned into an 18 person group, and we got a little bit better every year, a little bit better every year, a little bit better every year. By the time I graduated, we were a darn good group, and NYU has like 9 or 10 a cappella groups. Then, after I left, the bastards got really good, and they performed for Barack and Michelle Obama in the Oval Office. Wow. There's a video of Michelle Obama like bumping butts. I mean, we're singing "Burning Down the House" in the Oval Office, and I'm looking at this going, "Really? You waited until I was gone for this?" But yeah,
but it's still brought you.
It's all that's one of the things that's beautiful about singing in a group is like there's that through line of history. So like if you're a vocaholic, you're a vocaholic, and I always feel like that.
Same thing they say at AA. Once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic.
There you go. It's embedded in the name.
So are you singing at all on the street now?
I'm doing very little singing these days. Mostly I've been playing a couple duo and trio gigs, and I play a lot of solo piano.
Whereabouts?
I was at Royal Frenchman Hotel and Bar for a bit. Yeah, quite nice. Really what I'd like to do is find my real collaborators and build completely and totally original music again. It's been a minute for me. It's been a minute.
Good luck here, honey.
Knock the dust off that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone keeps on leaving though. Gosh, I leave for 5 weeks. I come back and people have like actually left.
It was summertime. They was like, we got to get up out of here. But most of the time, I think a lot of people do leave for the summer, or like either leave for the summer and come back.
They'll be back.
They experience summer and never come back.
They're telling me that they're not gonna be.
But see that, but honestly, I kind of like it that way. It's kind of that thing about Nola. She is a fickle bitch. If she loves you, she will open her arms to you and just lay out the red carpet to you. But if this city is not for you, she will chew you up and spit you out and send you back to Connecticut or wherever you came from.
Connecticut, I think that's correct. There you go. I think mostly they're regurgitating back to Connecticut.
That's right. Even there you go. Exactly.
But yeah, it's funny. I feel like I fell in love with two. In America, I've fallen in love with and lived in two cities. I've lived in more cities than that, but the ones I really fell in love with were New York and New Orleans. And what they share is the fact that they're these strange magnets that pull you in and spit you back out and pull you. The orbit of those cities always keeps you sort of vaguely aware that you could always go back. Both cities seem to have that pull.
Begin with the word new.
True.
At one point way back when there was this wrought iron thing going back and forth, like New Orleans and New York or competing. This is years in 18 something. New Orleans. Yes, New Orleans, they're known for, in the French Quarter, the double-decker houses with, all these, the French Quarter facade with the wrought iron balconies and all that. And then, there's, New York, it was back and forth between New Orleans and New York for a while because, Canal Street was, the biggest street in the U.S. for a while, and then New York put some streets on.
Oh, you mean back when?
What, back when? Way back when.
When she said back when, I was thinking, 40 years ago, and she was, 18. I was like, damn, now that's back when.
Way back when.
Well, we certainly lost that battle, but we gained. You were staying, Lecco? Are you staying here?
Oh, yeah. I'm here for a chunk of time, for sure.
You've only been here for 7 months, and you've got yourself all these gigs.
But I also decided to move here in my third hour of being here. And I say decided, I mean, texted my mom and she called me crying level of decided.
What were you drinking?
A Sazerac.
Yes, that'll do it.
I was drinking a Sazerac.
Whereabouts?
I was drinking a Sazerac at Spotted Cat.
You thought, you know what? I could live here.
This is it.
No, I thought I am moving
here.
He's I'm not going back.
Yeah.
All right.
And I was. I was.
And who were you with at the time?
I had come down I almost knew nothing about New Orleans. I knew nothing plus 1.5, but almost knew nothing. And I decided on my 30th birthday that I was going to get the hell out of town, and I just bought a week-long ticket here. Didn't know anybody. Didn't really have a sense of what I was going to do, and got out of the airport at midnight, and I got the bus driver to drop me off as close to where things were happening as possible. Walked straight into Spotted Cat, ordered a Sazerac.
This is 1 a.m. by now.
So Marla Dixon was there, I think. I think that's right. I think that's who it was.
This is 1 o'clock in the morning, about 6 months ago, in the middle of winter. So.
Yeah. This was 2 days before.
By yourself?
No, this is October 12th of last year. October 12th, and then I just realized, okay, I'm moving here. It
You
was,
came here from New York City with a backpack or something? Or a bag?
Actually, I was living for a chunk of time in the capital region, where my family's from, between New York, and there's also a year long in Europe. There's a bunch of other weird stuff in between.
You were in Prague where you started a literary magazine, I see, according to my information.
Yeah, I was one of a group of people that got a literary group going, based around typewriters and about sharing poetry. And I was not one of the people that took it off into the stratosphere. But it was called Harlequin Creature, and I studied poetry.
Did that take off after you left as well?
Yeah, and it's still going, and it's still going strong. They have.
That took off after you left, and so did this vocal
Yeah,
group.
basically, like the kiss is for me to leave something,
if you
and
leave,
it just
then things take
man,
off.
it really just goes.
Because as soon as you leave this table, they're bringing out cake.
Yeah, right. Precisely.
Hey, we do have to get out of here, actually, by the way, everybody, in just a minute.
Why is
but I was
that?
going to ask you, what other tattoos do you have, Danica, besides this love on your shoulder?
I have 9 tattoos.
9 tattoos. I can only see this one. It says love. I was wondering if you were going to get hate on the other shoulder.
I should put like a halo around this one and devil wings on the other.
Yeah. What else have you got? 9.
I've got
got
a cross
yeah.
here, and my favorite Bible verse here. And
What's your favorite Bible verse?
Romans 8:28.
Do you know that one, Alicia?
I do not know it. No, the Unitarians aren't great with the Bible.
There we go. No,
Unitarian Universalist doesn't have the same Bible that everybody else has?
No.
What do you have? What Bible?
We don't have a Bible. We have a set of principles.
Really?
Yeah.
How many?
We have 7 principles.
7, that's
Hey,
great.
keep it simple, bro.
7.
He said that's great.
If somebody
Like 3
doesn't
less
want
than
to
the
call
10
it a
Commandments.
religion, then I'm okay with that too, because we don't have a theology of what we believe. We just have like 7 principles of how we stay in right relations with each other. And I like how you have the cross tattoo, because I also have it. I'm branded with my church as well. It's the emblem of my
Hey,
church.
what's the
that.
brand of your church? What does it say?
So this is a flame. It's a
candle. Oh,
It says
okay,
nothing.
yeah.
And it stands
Okay.
for like the fire of like light and enlightenment and search for truth and reason.
Oh, yeah.
Truth and
That is-
reason. That's
yeah,
the
that's our
opposite of
highest
religion,
law.
by the way. Isn't it? Isn't reason the opposite of religion?
It really depends on who you ask.
Well, who's religious here? Anybody?
I mean,
Well, you've got a Bible verse tattooed on your
You know,
country music people.
As my good friends Merriam and Webster describe it, we all religious. I wake up and I do the same thing every morning, So
That's
I mean,
ritual. That's ritualistic.
So
And remember, we are all atheists, just some people go one God further.
Okay, so there's no God in Universalists.
There can be.
There
We
can
have
be.
theists, we have atheists, we have people who consider themselves Christian, we have Zoroastrianism.
This is a great religion. I
a
wouldn't
great
call this a religion. This you can do anything.
Well, I
Why
wouldn't say, you have to abide by the principles.
The 7 principles.
I just happen to have a little card in my
Okay,
bag.
get it out. We have to get out of here, but just give us a quick rundown about the 7 principles.
The 7 principles
Is it
relate
like the 10
to-
Commandments, except 3 fewer?
Only mathematically. Are they written here?
You can fit
These
the
are
whole
not
religion
them.
on a
I
business
just wasted
card.
a bunch of time.
Yeah.
But there are a set of principles that talks about how we maintain relationship with each other. We support each other in like a search for truth and meaning. We respect the interdependent web of existence of which we're all a part. So none of them are based in theology. They're all based in sort of like a moral fellowship that we have with each other.
humanism.
Be theist if you want to be theist. Be atheist if you want to be atheist. Like be who you want to be. It's really just
everybody.
it's a
Good to
great New
people.
Orleans religion when you think about it too. Yeah, be good to people. Yeah, don't be an asshole and try to.
Is
do
that
good
one of
works.
them?
Yeah.
pretty much.
Is
They
that an
pretty much
actual-
all.
principle.
That's
I
an
would
actual
say-
principle.
Yeah,
Does it have don't anything, or is it all just positive stuff?
it's all just positive stuff.
So there's no don't be an asshole or anything. There's just all.
Don't be an asshole is inherent in all of that. I would say.
Well, that's
It's the summary.
sort of the bottom line of everything, really.
I would say so.
Hey, listen, so before we get out of here, thank you very much to Nola Pens. As I mentioned, the only pens made from a fallen Audubon Park live oak. These one-of-a-kind, expertly crafted, limited edition writing instruments are available at where?
NolaPens.com.
Thank you very much. Also, thank you to Basics on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. Basics underneath sells fine lingerie, and Basics Swim and Gym has a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes. with style. And thank you too to the Positive Vibrations Foundation, who create and encourage community. Another frosé through the development and oh, you guys love frosé. This is great. Through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage. And if you'd like to be a member of our Patreon family, go to patreon.com and search for It's New Orleans Happy Hour. And today we're giving away this 3D chess game from F10. What's it called? F10 Design. Is that right? Somebody?
Say 3D chess game like in Star Trek?
Yes. Do you want it?
It's like in Star Trek?
It's like a Star Trek.
What?
It's a 3D chess game.
You're giving it to me?
Like the one
It's
where like,
made
the
right
gorilla
here.
knocks down the other guy when you move him?
It's
That's
made-
Star Wars.
That's a different
That's
one.
Star
That's a different
That's a
one.
different poem.
Oh, now I'm thinking Harry Potter. I'm going
I don't know
too
how to
far.
play chess.
I think that might be. You know, it's strange enough. I only started watching Next Generation like this past
No
year. I was
shit.
like such a diehard first 3 seasons, OGs, Kirk, Spock, Bones kind of Star Trek. But Next Generation is alright.
I would never have pegged you for that.
Like,
this is a surprise.
I'm
to
not
me.
as specious, but when I saw Klingon on the bridge, I was like, no, this is heresy. I'm not watching this foolishness.
Would you have pegged them for country musicians?
You know, pegging
They're full
doesn't
of
help that well.
surprises.
You gotta just imagine.
You can't tell. Alicia Cooke has been here from the what is it called? The name of the church?
Community Church Unitarian Universalist.
Community church. But that's not what you do. You're really a mid-level bureaucrat.
Yeah, well, and my life is given over to climate change activism, and we didn't even get a
We
chance
didn't even
to
get
talk
to that.
about
Can you
that.
come back and talk about climate change activism next time?
Anytime, literally
Really?
anytime you want to talk
Okay.
about the climate.
Okay.
It's a depressing concept, but I try to make it fun.
It's certainly something that we need to know about because it's affecting all of us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we didn't even get to that. Were you supposed to talk about that today?
I mean, Defiant's supposed to. I'm very
I
happy
don't
with
know.
everything we managed to talk
Yeah,
about.
I know. We can never fit it all into an hour. And Hyperphlyy, which is spelled Hyperphlyy, it's on your T-shirt.
Yes.
Is a band. There's a trio made up of Tria, Danica, and Devon, and they're going to be, if you haven't already passed this date, Friday the 2nd of August, 2019. You can go see them. Their record release party for Out the Mud at Rock and Ball on Carrollton Avenue in Uptown New Orleans. And Lecco Morris, who's a street poet and philosopher and musician
I like that.
as well.
Yeah, augmented every moment.
It's probably our newest New Orleanian, but certainly one of the most interesting. This has been a very enlightening show and illuminating. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Are you going to eat that whole lemon peel now?
It's dinner time.
That's nice.
There you go.
Thank you so much. That's Happy Hour for another week. The producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Monique Pyle is our music producer. Christian Unruh is our music consultant. Thomas Walsh is our technical director. And today's show is engineered by Eric Murrell. Asher Griffith is our Facebook live feed director. And Andrew Sirak is our fact checker and social media connector. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show, you can stay upright for about an hour while drinking frosés. Drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com, where you can also check out many other happy hours that we've made previous to this one, as well as other shows we make around here, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker, and our award-winning podcast about death, called Death, the Podcast. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and it's batonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on Facebook and Instagram and what else? Twitter and a bunch of other times social media as well. When all of it we're called It's New Orleans, and you can find photos from the show and find out what we all look like on itsneworleans.com and on our It's New Orleans Facebook page and on our Happy Hour Facebook page and on our Instagram account. These photos were all taken by Jill LaFleur, and you can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. If you listen to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you have one, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. If you listen to us on Spotify, you can follow us and get Happy Hour delivered to you each week. The show is recorded live today at Wayfair on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting. For itsneworleans.com, Andrew Duhon is on the road. If you want to find him, go to andrewduhon.com and see if you can find him in a town near you. He's going to be back here, I think, in 3 weeks. In the meantime, he's somewhere in America. From everyone around the table here at Wayfair and back at our office at INO Broadcasting, thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour. Okay. Good job, everybody. Okay.